David Pakman is host of the nationally syndicated political talk radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. He's a young, new, up-and-coming voice in the world of progressive political talk, and he's in the jab room to go a few rounds with me, David Buenamigo, your good friend. David Pakman, how the heck are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm a big fan of your show. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're a fan of yours. So tell us, first of all, about The David Pakman Show.
Well, you know, there's so much to say, and really, I'm going to say almost none of it. We're progressive. We're all young. Everybody's 26 or younger.
Awesome.
We're on 110 radio and TV stations. We're on DirecTV and your alma mater, Dish Network.
Yes, where I used to be an executive.
That's exactly right. So we're on Free Speech TV, and
awesome.
the thing's happening, you know?
That is fantastic. Wow. 100 radio and TV stations, that's very, very good. So listen, have you learned...
as Glenn Miller, the racist Senate candidate, once accused me of being part of the Jewish media conspiracy, and what I said was, listen, a lot of those stations are really small.
Well said. Well, you know, I think you put you and me together, and we've got almost 100% of 1/10 of 1% of the listeners out there. So what have you learned about Rand Paul and the Tea Party movement over the course of the midterm elections, Dave?
Listen, I don't know if there's ever been a faster flip-flop than Rand Paul from the time that he won in Kentucky to Monday, where he said all that stuff about no more earmarks. Yeah, I'm not really going to be doing that. It's the quickest flip-flop I can remember. At least John Kerry, with his whole I voted for it before I voted against it, there were at least a few months between that, right?
Right. Good point. All right, so I got to ask you this, because you've given this some airtime on your show. We had this sort of media missile conspiracy that happened on cable news shows last week. You know, we saw the big contrail going up into the sky. What's your take on that?
The thing I found funny was how quickly the conspiracy started among, I guess it started among left coast or west coast media about it's a missile, we don't know where it came from, we don't know where it's going, but we're being told just not to worry about it. And it was funny to me on two levels. On one hand, who really expects, if we are being told, hey, we don't know what it is or where it's coming from, but don't worry about it? Nobody would really believe that. But there was no evidence that it was a missile. And I don't know if it's irresponsible reporting or just a slow news day, but it was both funny and frightening.
Wow. Well, I got to agree with that. Funny and frightening. All right, now I got to shift gears here a little bit. Our former president, George W. Bush, is on a little book tour for Decision Points. Apparently, he has coined 2 new words on his book tour. What are those?
It's inundated and also psycho-Bible. So psycho-Bible, I guess, is a combination of Bible and psycho-babble. I don't know. It's funny. We put a couple of those clips together and just slowed it down. And if you look on our YouTube channel, you can see it come up syllable by syllable. And within an hour, CNN had picked up one of them, saying, "This is a whole. You know, there's a lot of funny stuff going on." And apparently, one radio show realized some new words were coined.
That's excellent. Wow. And, you know, at the top of the show I mentioned this, but apparently President Bush lifted entire paragraphs of other people's words to put in his book. The guy can't even write his own book. He's got to plagiarize even when he's writing his own book.
It's amazing. And, you know, Sarah Palin originally told us that she wrote a book, and then we found out, well, where exactly was she when she was in Southern California with that writer for those few weeks? George W. Bush apparently taking a different approach, which is just copy stuff from people.
Nice. I like it. Okay, well, at least he's consistent. Listen, do you think our midterm elections might have turned out differently if Bush had done his book tour, you know, maybe the week before the elections instead of the week after, just to kind of remind people of how much they loved the Republican Party when it was in charge?
I don't think so. We have that poll up right now on davidpakman.com, and the consensus from our listeners, who, by the way, are some of the smartest people that you will ever come across, is that it would not have made a difference. I always just wonder. You remember in 2004 with the Bin Laden message a few days before the election. We don't know any little percentage that might have changed.
Right.
I don't know that it would have made a big difference this time around.
Well, I'd like to think that there's some kind of plan here when President Bush, whose popularity ratings are right up there with lead and fried spinach, decided to come out publicly after the midterm elections. Somebody somewhere said, Mr. President, you might want to think about launching that announcement after Election Day. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me a tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracist, but I'm sticking with it. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. Listen, Dave Pakman, thank you so much for coming on Left Jab. You, my friend, are welcome anytime on this show.
Thank you.
All right, take care, and good luck with that show. That's David Pakman, ladies and gentlemen, host of the nationally syndicated political talk radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show, and a friend of Left Jab.